talk about what it's like being an empath. Pretty much an empath is somebody who feels other people's emotions. Being around other people kind of like sucks them in, and it affects them mentally and physically. I know it sounds like it's a really bad thing, but sometimes it's a good thing because you can learn from another person about like their feelings about situations and all that other stuff. So it's kind of cool to be an empath. But first we're going to discuss basically not the symptoms, but like the ideas of you maybe being one. So I have 15 things that could prove if you're an empath or not. If you want to hear them, stick around. I'm just going to get right into it. I'm going to discuss how it affects me personally being one and how it tends to affect other people being around me. So I'm going to start in with when I work at my job. When I had an ex-coworker working with me, it was definitely hard being one because we both were one and we were both bouncing off each other's energy. So it was complicated, and it was a hellfest, and it was just all over the place. But I learned how to figure out how to not connect to other people's feelings or emotions. And what I mean by that is I learned how to set boundaries. I learned how to put myself into a bubble and shut everybody out, not literally shut everybody out, but shut people who had negativity out. Basically bouncing off their negative emotions and their negativity towards me. It was definitely a challenge, and I'm still working on it, but it is a lot of fun learning about this type of stuff. It is a lot of fun to discuss these things because I personally want to know if there's any other empaths out there, and if there is, maybe we can connect and discuss certain things and see how we can help each other cope, kind of, I guess I would say. So pretty much when I was working, it was hard because one person would come in super angry and super upset because they've had a crappy day. And I was also having a crappy day, but I was trying to think positive about things. And it was definitely hard because, like I said, I was bouncing off her energy, another coworker's energy, and it was just a whole energy screwfest is what I want to say. It was terrible, but it's definitely not a bad thing being an empath, because being an empath, you can feel how people feel, and you can tell how people feel about you pretty much. And sometimes it can be negatively, and other times it can be positively. Pretty much you just gotta work through those feelings and work through those emotions, and you'll be set. So now I'm going to get on to the ideas that you might be an empath. So if you don't like crowded rooms, you could definitely be one. If you feel like you're tuned in with other people's emotions and feelings, that's another big thing that you could be one. Also, if you have a lot of empathy towards others, and if you can't not care, pretty much. If you can't not care, I don't know. I don't know how to explain that. It's kind of like a whole mess of words. But another thing is that you have good intuition. You have high sensitivity to sounds, to smells, or any other sensations. So pretty much, the smell, the hearing, all 4 of the senses. If you're really close to nature, there's more. If you don't often fit in, if you don't feel like you fit in, could be another big reason. Or you could just be kind of an outcast, which is definitely hard, but maybe I'll make another video on it, on how to not be an outcast. Another thing is that you tend to isolate yourself. So you tend to keep to yourself and not let anybody in, which could be good, but also bad at the same time, because you want to let people in so that they can know who you are as a person, I want to say. Another thing is that you have a hard time setting boundaries. Like I discussed in my own feelings, is that it was definitely hard setting boundaries for the people around me, but I figured it out without even realizing that I did. Another thing is that you sometimes find it tough to cope with sensory and emotional overloads. So I don't know how to really explain it, but it's kind of self-explanatory. Another thing is that you see the world in unique ways. How I see the world is that it's a beautiful place, and there's some mean people and there's some nice people. You just gotta fit in with the right crowd. Another thing is that being an empath is definitely hard at times, especially when you're trying to block out everybody around you so that you don't feel their emotions, which is another big sensory overload. It could cause you a lot of stress, and it could bring you down and all that other stuff. But we're not talking about the negatives here. We're talking about the positives. Pretty much the positives are just set boundaries for yourself. If that means that you only talk to somebody for a couple minutes instead of talking to them for a long time, it works. Or even if you just kind of keep your distance so that you don't feel their emotions, which is kind of hard in a workplace. I understand that, but sometimes just stepping away is the best option. Stepping outside and taking a deep breath and breathing in the fresh air, because if you're an empath, you feel very connected to nature, and nature helps you through a lot. But it's another good thing is that you can tell if there's somebody bad. If there's like someone who's violent, you can tell because of their emotions that they are giving you. But it can also be scary because those emotions can affect you in any type of way. But you'll get through it, I promise. You just gotta learn boundaries and learn how to just keep in your own bubble, I wanna say. But other than that, guys, I hope that I gave you enough information on this. And like I said in the beginning, if you are an empath and you want to connect, that's perfectly fine. Just either comment below or whatever. I can give my email. I probably won't though, because it's a little sketchy giving emails out on the internet these days. But just comment below, and also just hit the like button, and of course hit the subscribe button so that you can be notified every time I come out with a new video. But other than that, I hope you guys have a wonderful evening, and I hope that you stay positive and strong, because you'll get through whatever you're going through, and I'll see you in the next one.